players will lose units to the fountain as well. It's really one bad trait that I have. I got better at it when I was actually good at this game, but I've lost a lot of units in this pro ladder to leaving stuff at the fountain when day hits, just being in the middle of harassing. So now I see my opponent is going to expand. I do notice the red dots on the mini map. You can see I'm running my army over there right away, and I'm hoping that I can manage to pick him off before he does anything bad to me. Now this is one of the things that happened early on, because I picked off so many footmen and did a lot of damage to him. I managed to weaken his army to the point where, look, he's got a rifleman tanking this creep. Okay, there's a sorceress, cool. I managed to take off slow off the ogre magi, and now his sword doesn't have any mana for slow. And okay, he picks up some items off his paladin, but here's breath of fire, here's focus fire. His units are getting injured, and I'm just doing some damage. He will probably heal it in time, yeah, but I force a TP, and that's better than nothing. He does manage to finish the creep camp out. His paladin picked up the items, which is pretty nice because he got super durability. But I got to force a town portal. I got to force some damage output, whatever. And yeah, his paladin doesn't have full mana. So this camp, I kind of estimate that actually right now this won't be enough experience to level up to 3 on my warden. And actually, I don't run my panda away or anything. I'm just simply going for the healing aspect of fighting around a fountain and whatnot. And honestly, if I had played more intelligently, I would have actually ran my panda away and gotten warden to 3. But I mostly just didn't think of it. That's a bit of a mistake, but you see I do finally hit tier 2, and obviously I hit tier 2 and I grabbed the panda, but also my wood really sucks, and a lot of that was from all that detonation spam I did. And I'm worried a little bit about being harassed, and you see I built an extra moonwell here. I'm not sure really quite why I did that, to be quite honest. Actually, I know why I did that. I built that moonwell because I wanted to be able to hit 50 food, and then the Tree of Life finished, and I was like, oh, right, I have that already. So what you can see here is I'm focusing off this rifleman, doing some damage here. I'm doing what I can. There's also some Shadow Strike off on the Archmage. I'm doing some damage. I finally managed to pick off this rifleman, and that's really useful because now I get to hit level 3 on my Warden. You notice that now the Paladin is actually out of mana. My Warden, however, not so much. So we're going to see what happens because of this. But however, I've lost so many Huntresses to this fight that it was that was actually really stupid to have happen. But I am producing my Dryads now. I have hit tier 2, but this is one of the weaknesses of the strategy of going Huntresses and your opponent choosing to expand instead, is you have a lot of this going on. Now, I'm not really going for the Sorceresses because I don't care about Sorceresses. I am, however, going for the Archmage, because the Archmage is an important tool, and okay, yeah, he heals it, now his Paladin's stuck. It doesn't really matter regardless, because he doesn't have any more heals, he doesn't have any potions anyway. There's just another Shadow Strike and some more damage output. And so his Warden his hero gets picked off, the Paladin actually blocks himself, or gets himself out of there. But this is just focus right now. You see I try to run the Huntress away, but it gets path blocked a couple times. And I'm just trying to go for targets of opportunity, important units, frail units, but ones that are important. Now, Riflemen don't pick off heroes very well, but slow and heal makes heroes much less useful. So while he is picking off, indeed, quite a few units, this Rifleman picking off this Dryad, the Paladin helping as well, I do have heroes that are able to pick off these Riflemen pretty decently as well. And I tag these Moonwells with my Warden, my Panda doing what he can as well. However, I do manage to make a mistake here and walk right into a surround, and I don't even manage to pick off that Rifleman, so my Panda just dies stupidly. But here's his Dryad. The Dryad will pick off that rifle unless he gets healed, which he does, but the Warden runs in there. There's focus, and there's another hit, and I managed to actually pick off 2 Riflemen that he was slightly too slow to heal, and those are mistakes on his part. His Paladin was raising his arm on both cases, and in either case it was 400 hit points that would have easily saved each Rifleman, but, thankfully, stuff happened for me. So, my Creeping Ancient War dies, and that's, to be expected, because it was all the way up there. Now, I did make a good choice here, and I managed to not lose my Tree of Life creeping, and it's something that I've done a lot, I expect my army to run in there to meet up with the Tree of Life, so I just run it into the creep camp, and then creeps wake up and kill it. In this case, I managed to stop it in time, and now here's just some free creeping. Now, I know I can't fight this army. There's no way in hell I can fight a Paladin and Priest and Rifleman with my current army standing, so I'm reviving my Paladin. I'm getting as many Dryads as I can. Now, you notice I keep that one lore not building so that it can actually fight. And this is just simply because I lose a Dryad. No, I don't lose a Dryad because I'm Gangster and he manages to ensnare it. But, I do lose a lore, and I am producing some Dryads, though. And somehow I managed to keep him from killing this lore for a while. I forget exactly what happens. But at this point, you notice that I've never spent any skill points on second level skills. I've only picked Shadow Strike and Shadow Strike at 3. And now I realize, okay, well, I have 2 skill points to go. I don't really see myself needing Blink, and I eventually grab Fan of Knives as my secondary ability. So you see Shadow Strike and focus on a footman. This is part of what happens when you let your buildings fight. Is I managed to pick off this footman here and some free experience, which is always useful. So there's the extra shop I built because I was worried about getting myself picked off. Also build a second lore here because I realized that I clearly need a second lore. I have an expansion, and I try to spam Wisps off this Tree of Life when I remember that it's actually rooted and able to produce. I will eventually do that. I'm going to keep myself clicked on it. So there you go. I'm producing wisp now at my expansion as much as my gold allows, which was 1. But I'm now researching abolish magic. Basically, once I remembered, oh yeah, I should probably get abolish magic so I can get rid of water elementals. I did that. I should have kept focusing on the rifleman, I think, because his heal would have been on cooldown long enough to probably pick that off. Maybe not, but I do manage to pick off a footman. And this is going up. What? What doesn't matter? Really? My roommate's sleep talking. It's fun. I think he called me gay too. Alright. Not unique to WCR. Gay freak jokes. Anyway, I keep pulling wisps off to repair. I'm keeping my Ancient of War alive because he's choosing to hit my Ancient of War instead of this Ancient of Lore. And that is pretty useful because I can keep him hitting that and it's damage up, but he's not putting on useful buildings, so I might as well. Yes, these wisps are getting picked off. Yes, I am losing wisps, but mostly I use it to buy me time to get abolish magic done. As you notice that every subsequent ancient water metal that is summoned, I managed to pick it off. And seeing that my Ancient of Lore is going to die, you notice that I built a second one here already, off in this little knoll to the right of my base. And now my expansion's up in pretty much full swing. I'm producing wisps as constantly as I can. I'm producing wisps even at my mains just so that they can get me some lumber while I'm, while it's still alive. So here's an important thing I do. I realize that my base is pretty much a lost cause, but my expansion is up successfully. I do manage to pull these 2 wisps out, and it could have been a bit of a mistake because now he's thinking, well, what if he's running them to an expansion? What if something's down there? And honestly, I don't know what to say about that, except that I really did kind of need to get these wisps into a safe place so I could chop some lumber down. I'm simply producing mass dryads, and there we go. I check with this wisp, and I'm like, thank God he didn't expand. I have a chance at winning this game. I feel that if he had maybe expanded instead of pushing quite as hard, I mean, still, put the towers up, whatever, but just quickly got an expansion up with a bunch of towers, that I would have been in possibly a hopeless situation in this game. But you notice he picks off my Tree of Ages, and all I'm doing is trying to buy some time. I have my minerals on autocast to keep my wisps alive. I'm just repairing the Tree of Ages, which I realize is a money sink, but it keeps his army busy, because here I am, able to pick off his peons, and so he's not able to do anything to me. Yeah, okay, my womb mills eventually run out of mana. Yeah, I lost a bunch of money killing in repairing and whatever, and I moved my wisps over to the side so that they're closer to this moonwell that can heal my wisps. But primarily I used it so that I could buy more time to keep him stuck in my base while I picked off his peasants. So yes, I spent money, put myself in a weaker position because I was spending money on something that was doomed to die. But there's no way he's going to let me just keep that Tree of Ages alive, so he has to finish it off. And meanwhile, I've brought his keep down to half HP. He has, if I press F11 real quick, he has a little bit of money, but not a lot. His food is equal. His money is actually fairly equal, but he spends that money on an expansion instead. And then he runs his army down to try to stop me from killing his main. Now he doesn't manage to actually do it, but I'm just saying that's what he's trying to do. So yeah, the one peon comes out and he tries to repair it. I just Shadow Strike him or whatever, and this keep will go down. I notice his Archmage has shown up, so I quickly move these few dries over and across. And now I see a free water metal kill, so I'm going to dispel that real quick. And now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to get positioning into my favor. I run everything back, and I try to get myself into a choke point, and I lose a couple dries really stupidly. This is really bad of me to lose these dries here, but I run in there and I use FOK, and then I go for Haze Fire, and I hit level 3, which is really useful. So there's Haze, there's Fire, and that's a lot of damage output, and now I can start picking off these units, because I have enough mana for a lot more FOK, and you see that one go off right there, and I have one more Breath of Fire as well. Unfortunately, he does have a fair amount of healing available, and so it's sometimes difficult for me. So there's the TP, there's the Breath of Fire, and I managed to not do as much damage as I wanted to do. I didn't even manage to quite pick off that priest either, so I lost a couple dries by standing around a little bit too long, which is true, but what I see right here, though, is, okay, fine, I force him all the way to the back of his base. He's got to run all the way back up, and